And I get carried away sometimes on the air because I'll see the phone, and if you're in the control room, I have everything that you would ever need to possibly do a excellent broadcast. But to my left is my phone, and I see it ringing, and I just had this feeling that it was Devin Gussick. And he lives in West Palm Beach with his lovely family, and, he's been an author and speaker and lecturer and all these things in academia and a librarian of all things. I mean, the guy gets to read all these books. He's such a brainiac on all things. But he just called to say hi, asked how the show was doing. And I said, you made me play a commercial 2 times. So if you had to suffer through it, that is why. Blame Nevin. He was responsible for it. I mentioned the Tonight Show probably like 2 days ago or something like that. And are you a big Jimmy Fallon fan? Or were you like a Jay Leno, or were you a Johnny Carson fan? Well, anyways, Jimmy's got it. That's his show. And I'm not surprised about what I just read about ratings. They have really tanked. And why is the late night host floundering in Trump's America? That's a good question. Well, it's not just the question of why comedians are doing it and why journalists are doing it, why sports figures are doing it. It seems to be America's pastime. That people seem that they have to meddle in politics. And what's really amazing to me, listening to the conversations with people, they really don't know a whole lot about it. They say they don't want to talk about it. They say they don't want to get involved with it. It upsets them. It stresses them out. And yet they partake. They partake in it. And they said, you know what? I really don't have a political fetish, but it's become a preoccupation. You'd have to admit this. So the ratings, let's talk about them. Because the ratings is what advertisers look at, what networks look at depends on their bottom line. So the ratings have proved that viewers are deserting the Tonight Show, where Fallon once towered above his 11:35 p.m. time slot rival Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. He's now in danger of slipping into third place, something that was unthinkable like even 12 months ago. Fallon averaged nearly 4 million viewers a night in 2015 and almost 3.5 million the year after. In 2017, this year, he's pulling in just over 2.5 million a show. A steep drop by at least the Tonight Show standards. 2.5 million a show, that's it. It all started in September of last year when Fallon interviewed with then candidate Trump, found the host in hot water. 13 months on, the encounter seems even stranger. The interview began with softball questions. There's probably kids watching, right? Do you remember the interview, where he was touching his hair? I thought it was kind of funny. It was softball for sure. He says, why should they want to grow up and be president? He follows those up by asking Trump if he ever seen himself getting into politics. Then he asked what changed over the course of the campaign. So the most infamous portion of the interview, of course, is when Fallon asked Trump permission to mess up his hair. And it was a lesson in how to fumble a golden opportunity and normalize a deeply unqualified proto-fascist candidate. But if Jimmy Fallon had any credibility left as thinking comedian with a point of view, he lost the last shred of its last night. Who says this? Sonia Sahara noted in Variety the morning after. That's just what she called it. Fallon's geoflexion towards Trump coincided with his ratings decline. The week of the Trump interview, he led Colbert and Kimmel both by over 1 million viewers. By the inauguration in January, he and Colbert were neck and neck. And last week, Colbert brought 500,000 more nightly viewers than Fallon when Kimmel, after several blistering attacks on the Graham Cassidy healthcare bill, was itching towards second place. And all of this suggests that viewers don't seem to have an appetite for Fallon's happy medium approach. And while he'll still nab the occasional viral video, his comments on the white supremacist violence in Charlottesville, for example, the opening monologue of Colbert, Kimmel, and Seth Meyers, Trevor Noah, and Samantha Bee have consistently outthought Fallon. That's kind of an interesting thing to listen to what some of the insiders in entertainment are saying about this. But again, what they say, numbers don't lie. But of course, NBC will take a loss. NBC is taking a loss. They are forking out a lot of money. Megyn Kelly, ratings terrible. And they're going to have to eventually buy her out of her contract, I foresee, because things ain't happening. You know, there's only so many times you can beat that horse, beat that dog. There's only so many things that you can do until finally people are like, okay, I've heard enough. Seriously. Even if you don't like Donald Trump, it's like people are tired. The wear factor, they're just tired. But all right, we've beat up Trump enough. We've given it to him enough. All right, move on. Can you not tell a joke without blasting the president? I mean, seriously. I mean, some people, they like to do that. I don't know what it is. There's a certain segment of society that likes to lament in the pig manure. They like to go over and over again, and they like to watch Groundhog every single day and like to repeat it every single day. That's small-minded people. And believe it or not, there are people like that. They could care less about really anything that's going on, anything. And they don't even observe what's going on around them. You could ask them, what color is Publix floors? Now, they've been shopping there for 10 years. Is it black? Well, actually, it's white. What color is the ceiling? I think it's pink. It's actually white. It's just some people that don't even pay attention to what's going on. So it doesn't surprise me when you ask somebody about what some of the most pivotal things are, you know, when it comes down to a candidate and issues. What are your hot topics? What are some of the qualities that you would deem to be good things to vote for a good candidate? And it's like you get the deer in the headlights look. I really don't know. But yet, you know, they can sit there and they can rail the president. And the reason being is because they get this stuff served up to them as if Donald Trump's some kind of criminal. Some type of neo-Nazi, KKK. And if there was any truth or credibility to any of those things that have been said, do you honestly believe that Donald Trump would be sitting in that position, Jeffrey Sessions or anybody in his cabinet, if they had any dirt, any film of Donald Trump in a sheet, riding with the horses, getting ready to hang somebody, or going to some KKK party? I mean, he would be out of that White House so fast it wouldn't be funny. But the stuff propagating is insane. And there was stuff said, I should say this, about Obama, Michelle Obama, things like that, too, that were just unfounded. There's definitely a cloud of secrecy around a lot of things about Obama. There's no doubt about it. But nevertheless, there was nothing so outlandish about any of the accusations that got him impeached. It was just a cloud of suspicion. Some people this like, well, Donald Trump, he didn't have a full disclosure of his taxes. Well, Obama didn't release any of his transcripts of any of his grades for any place that he's ever went. So what's worse? Did you actually graduate with honors? Nobody said they ever went to school with you, and nobody even said they even knew you. So that's kind of weird. I mean, there's strangeness in there. I don't know what's odder. I mean, everybody knew Donald Trump, that he went to business school, graduated with honors there. That was verifiable. They knew Trump there. They had pictures with him. But nobody has pictures with Obama going to school. That's kind of weird. And then he doesn't show his transcripts. That was the only thing. It wasn't Obama's Obama's wife, Michael, as people alluded that she was a man, really, because her shoulders were bigger than Obama's. There's people on that bandwagon. There's some people that I know that believe that. I used to just kind of laugh like, oh, my God, this is so crazy. The first lady's a man. And people were preoccupied about that. I think people would have debunked that if that was true. Mythbusters would have been able to do it. I really love that show. I think they had their last show like a couple years ago. Loved Mythbusters. They debunked myths. Like, we'll give you an example here. Anybody ever tell you you're kind of like a bull in a china shop? They had a bull that actually went into a china store, and it did knock over a single thing. It seemed like it was more paranoid than anything. It just left the store, and that was it. Here's an odd story. This is just unbelievably kind of nasty, but it's a true story. And I feel sorry for this lady that she's going through this, and she actually needs some help. A woman's brain is literally dropping out of her skull. Sarah Gearing, 40, has a condition which causes her body's connective tissues to collapse, meaning that many of her joints frequently fall apart. The condition, called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, means that Gearing needs $170,000 to have a unique operation which will take place in Barcelona and last for over 10 hours. She says, "My surgeon told me that my condition is more critical than it has ever been. And if I don't have this surgery, if I don't get it, I need it by next month, I will die," she said. "This condition has affected every single aspect of my life, and right now I wear a neck brace all the time." She says, "When I was younger, my condition was poor, and I would bruise easily, and since things have only worsened," she said, "I had pursued a further education to become a counselor, but because of my health, I couldn't continue it, and right now my brain is dropping out of my skull, crushing my brainstem and spinal cord." This lady has learned that the only surgeons in the world that are able to perform this highly complex and dangerous operation are in Barcelona, Spain. And the result, right now, the doctors say if she doesn't get the $170,000 here, she's going to die. And she has a GoFundMe page, so if you're interested in donating, Sarah Gearing, Gearing, and she needs the surgery. I hope to God she comes up with it. Gosh, I have to kind of hold the back of my neck. Can you imagine your brain falling out of your skull? Rare condition, and just when you think that you've heard everything. Here's a little update. Sarah's local community in Rochford, Essex, her church apparently got together and raised over $72,000 for her, and she remains positive, despite having less than a month to double funds so far. She says, "I'm overwhelmed by the support from everyone." It's called Rochford Council. Okay, thank you. And I'm really positive about this because I think the trip to Spain 2 weeks was a sign that I'll be all right, she said. "There's just so many things I want to do, like supporting other EDS patients. I'm not finished with life just yet." The crowdfunding page was set up to help Gearing reach her fundraising goals. So we'll be praying. Hopefully she'll come up with, just what you thought, that you had it rough with whatever condition that you have. At least your brain's not falling out of your skull. That's what I try to do. When you think that life has got you so hard wrapped up, I try to think of other people's conditions. And I say, you got to count yourself blessed. Seriously, there's always somebody that has it a whole lot worse. I pray for that person, but I say to myself, I could have it worse. And somebody usually always does have it worse. And, and then having the other thing that I like to call attitude of gratitude. Just be thankful. You may not have everything that you want, but be thankful for the things that you have. And that in itself, most of the times, you can have a better day, I think. Houston Rockets player sends message of resistance after the NBA opening game. Oh, no, not the basketball league.